Jai Guruji, Sai Ram. Chapter 14, The Incarnation of Grihapati. Nandiswara said, with great delight, the Brahmin returned home and told his beloved wife all those details. On hearing it, Suchismati, the wife of the Brahmin, rejoiced much, and being full of love, she praised her good fortune. She became pregnant in due course. The Brahmin performed the rite of impregnation duly. Before the stir and throb of the child in the womb was felt, the learned Brahmin performed the holy rite of Purva Swahana in the manner described in the Griha Sutras for the growth of embryo's manliness. Then, in the 8th month, he performed the holy rite of Simanta, which is conducive to the growth of the embryo and which facilitates easy delivery of the child. Then, at the conjunction of stars, when Jupiter was in the center, when the Lagna was auspicious, when the good planets stood in pairs, Shiva, the giver of happiness to all, was born as the son of Suchismati. His face resembled the moon. The lamps in the lying-in chamber were dimmed by his bodily lustre. The Lord, the destroyer of misfortunes and the bestower of happiness to the dwellers of the earth, the netherworlds, and the heaven, was born as the sun. The smoke exuding therefrom became the perfume to sweeten the breath of the quarters. The immense clouds showered flowers of pleasing fragrance. The divine drums were sounded and the quarterns were brightened up. The rivers became transparent, as also the minds of living beings. The darkness of evil dwindled, and the rajas was stripped of its quality or of its dust. The living creatures were endowed with sattva quality. There was a shower of nectar. People began to talk sweet and pleasant words. Rambha and other celestial damsels arrived with auspicious articles in their hands. Thousands of Vidyadharis, Kinnaris, goddesses, the women folk of Gandharvas, serpents, and yakshas of sweet voice flocked singing auspicious songs. The following sages came there: Marichi, Atri, Pulaha, Pulastya, Kratu, Angiras, Vashishta, Kashyap, Agastya, Vibhanda, son of Mandavi, Lomasha, Romacharana, Bhardwaj, Gautam, Bhrigu, Galava, Garga, Jatukarna, Parashar, Apastamba, Yagnavalkya, Daksha, Valmiki, Mudgala, Shatatapa, Likhita, Shilada, Shankha, Unchabhuk, Jamadagni, Samvarta, Matanga, Bharat, Amsuman, Vyasa, Katyayana, Kutsa, Shaunaka, Sushruta, Shuka, Rasasragna, Durvasa, Suchi, Narad, Tumburu, Uttarika, Vamadeva, Pavana, Asita, Devala, Shalankayana, Harita, Vishwamitra, Bhargav, Mrikandu with his son, Parvata, Daruka, Dhaumya, Upamanyavatsa, and others came to the happy hermitage of Vishwanara for the auspicious Shanti ceremony. The daughters of the sages too came there. Brahma came there with Brihaspati. Lord Vishnu came riding on Garuda as vehicle. The bull-bannered Lord came there with Gauri, Nandin, Bringi, and others. Mahendra and other gods, the Nagas residing in the nether regions, came there. Taking gems with them, many great oceans and rivers came there. Thousands of immobile beings came there in the forms of the mobile beings. During the great festivities then, there was an untimely flood of moonlight. Brahma himself performed the postnatal rite after bowing to the infant. In consonance with his form and beauty, he gave him the name of Grihapati on the 11th day in accordance with injunctions, repeating the Vedic mantras. After conferring blessings on everyone by reciting the mantras from the 4 Vedas, Brahma left the place while riding on the swan. After affording proper safeguards for the child in accordance with worldly conventions, Shiva returned to his abode on his vehicle along with Vishnu. The visitors praised the infant. They were at the height of their joy. They spoke in unison. "Oh, what a beauty! What a splendor! All the characteristic signs are there in all the limbs. How fortunate is Suchismati! Shiva himself is born. What is surprising in this? Shiva has incarnated in all devotees. Shiva has been worshipped by her." Then they took leave of Vishwanara and departed. The eternal Veda says, "A person conquers the worlds through a son." Hence, all householders wish for a son. The house of a sonless person is a void. His earnings are futile. His penance is split. It is not wholly due to the want of a son. Both here and hereafter, there is no better acquisition than a son. There is no better happiness than a son. There is no greater friend than a son. In the 4th month, the rite of crossing the threshold was performed by the father. At the end of 6 months, the rite of Annaprashan, and at the end of a year, the tonsure ceremony was performed. The knower rites performed the Karna Veda rite under the constellation of Shravana. In order to enhance his Brahmanical splendor, he made him perform an auspicious vrata in his 5th year. After celebrating the Upakarma rite, the intelligent sage taught him the Vedas. The boy learned the Vedas for a year with their ancillaries. He learnt the Padapatha and Kramapatha of the Vedas. Evincing his humility and other qualities, the competent youth grasped the lore almost by himself, but formally through the preceptor, just as a medium. In his 9th year, Narada came there to see Grihapati, son of Vishwanara, and found him engaged in servicing his parents. The divine sage reached the hut of Vishwanara, received due hospitality, and seated himself. Eagerly, he inquired of his health. He remembered the lotus-like feet of Shiva and mentioned to Vishwanara the future fortune and activities of his son. Narad said to the boy, "O son of Vishwanara, come on, sit on my lap. I shall study your characteristics. Show me your right hand." On being thus addressed, the boy bowed to Narada after receiving the permission of his parents. With great devotion, the glorious child sat there humbly. Nandiswara said, examining closely the palate, tongue, etc. of the boy, the intelligent Narad spoke to Vishwanara, urged by Shiva. Narad said, "O sage Vishwanara, listen. I shall mention the detailed characteristic marks of your son. Your son bears good marks on every limb. He possesses all good signs. But fate alone must guard this boy duly. This boy who has all good qualities, who is characterized by all good features, and who is possessed of all pure digits in their entirety. This child should be protected with all efforts. When the fate is adverse, even good qualities assume the state of defects. In the 12th month from now, I suspect a great danger to him from lightning and fire." After saying this, Narad returned to heaven the way he had come. Chapter 15. The Incarnation of Grihapati. Nandiswara said, on hearing the revelation of Narad, Vishwanara and his wife considered it a terrible bolt from the blue. He shouted, "Oh, I am doomed!" He beat his chest. Excited by the grief about his son, he fell into a great swoon. The grief-stricken Suchismati too lamented much. Her senses were benumbed, and she lamented loud. On hearing her loud lamentation, Vishwanara woke up from his swoon. He cried aloud, "What is this? What is this? Where is Grihapati, my vital breath, who stands outside? and who is the lord of all the senses lodged within me. On seeing his parents excessively grieved, the boy Grihapati, a part of Shiva, smiled and said, Grihapati said, O mother, O father, what is the reason? Please tell me now. Why do both of you cry? What and whence is such a fright for you? Time and pitiable fickle existence cannot affect me, whose body is guarded by the dust particles of your feet. O my parents, please listen to my vow. If I am your true son, I will do that whereby death itself will be terrified. I shall propitiate Lord Shiva, the conqueror of death, the omniscient and the bestower of all to the good. I shall perform the japa of Mahakal. O parents, I am telling you the truth. Nandiswara said. On hearing his words, the aged Brahmin couple were freed of their distress by the untimely showers of nectar. They then spoke. The Brahmin couple said, say again, what is it? What is it? Speak again. Time and pitiable fickle existence will not affect you? A great means has been suggested by you to dispel our distress, that of the propitiation of Lord Shiva, the conqueror of death. The same is the result for those who seek refuge in Shiva, who dispels sins and does everything beyond the path of our desire. There is nothing better than this. Oh dear, haven't you heard that the slayer of the Tripuras protected, in days of yore, Swetaketu, who was bound by the noose of Kala? When Shilada's son was threatened by death, when he was only 8, Shiva saved him and made him his own attendant as Nandan, the delighter of the whole universe. He protected the 3 worlds by drinking of the terrible poison as fearful as the fire at the hour of dissolution, when it was produced at the churning of the milk ocean. With the wheel raised up by the line drawn with his beautiful toe, he killed the haughty Jalandhara, who had deprived the 3 worlds of their pleasure. He burnt the Tripuras, who were haughty and deluded by the lordship of the 3 worlds by means of the blazing fires emanating from the fall of a single arrow. Even as Brahma and others were watching, he reduced Kam to ashes by a single glance. Kama, whose strength had been enhanced by his conquest of the 3 worlds. O son, seek refuge in that Shiva, the amulet of protection of the universe, the sole creator of Indra, Achyuta, Brahma, and others. Nandiswara said. Thus, he secured the permission of his parents. He bowed at their feet and circumambulated them. He then pacified them and started. He reached Kashi, inaccessible even to Brahma, Vishnu, and others. He reached Kashi that dispels all recurring distress, that is protected by Vishvesha, that shines with the celestial river Ganga as with a beautiful necklace around its neck, that shines splendidly by the presence of Parvati, the consort of Shiva, and of wonderful qualities. After reaching Kashi, he went to Manikarnika at the outset. After taking bath in accordance with the injunctions of the Shastras, he saw Lord Vishveshwara with palms joined and head bent in reverence. The intelligent Brahmin was greatly delighted. He bowed to Lord Shiva, who instills life into and protects the 3 worlds. Seeing that phallic image of Shiva again and again, he was delighted in his heart and thought, undoubtedly, this is possessed of great bliss. Ha! There is none more blessed than I in the 3 worlds consisting of the mobile and immobile beings, since today I have seen here the Lord Vishveshwara. It is only to enhance my good fortune that sage Narada formerly came and told me that. I am therefore very much contented. By the nectarine juice of bliss, he concluded. Then, on an auspicious day, he instilled the phallic image, the bestower of all benefits. He adopted austere rites difficult to be performed by those who have no control over themselves. He filled pots with the water of the Ganga, strained and purified by means of a cloth. Every day, he bathed the phallic image with 108 potfuls of water. Then he put a garland of blue lotus around the deity. He wreathed the garlands with 1,008 flowers. He ate fruits, roots, and bulbous roots once in a fortnight or a month. The courageous devotee spent 6 months by eating withered leaves. The remaining 6 months he spent drinking drops of water or simply breathing. O Brahmins, thus a year in the life of that noble soul passed by, performing the penance with the devoted mind resting only in Shiva. In the 12th year of his life, the thunderbolt-armed Indra approached him as if fulfilling the utterance of Narada. He said, O Brahman, I am Indra. I am delighted at your holy rites. Ask for the boon you wish to have. I shall give you whatever you desire you have in your mind. On hearing the words of Lord Indra, the son of the sage spoke these words boldly and sweetly. Grahapati said, O Indra, O enemy of Vritra, I know you as armed with a thunderbolt. I do not want a boon from you. Shiva is the granter of boon to me. Indra said, O child, Shiva is not separate from me. I am the Lord of gods. Give up your foolhardiness and ask for a boon from me. Do not delay. Grahapati said, O paramour of Ahalya, O wicked one, O enemy of mountains, O chastiser of Paka, it is quite clear that I shall not ask any other god except Shiva for a boon. Nandiswara said. On hearing his words, Indra's eyes turned red with fury. He raised his terrible thunderbolt and threatened the boy with dire consequences. On seeing the thunderbolt with the flames of lightning, the boy remembered the words of Narada. He became frightened and fell into a swoon. Then Shiva, the Lord of Parvati, the dispeller of darkness, appeared in front. As though enlivening him with gentle strokings, he said, Stand up, stand up. May good come up to you. Opening his eyes, resembling the lotus that had gone to sleep at the end of the day, and getting up, he saw Shiva shining more brilliantly than 100 suns. Seeing the Lord with the eyes in the forehead, blue-necked, bull-bannered, moon-crested, with Parvati occupying the left side, shining with matted hair, armed with the trident and Ajagava bow, possessed of limbs shining white like camphor, clad in the elephant's hide, he recognized the Lord as the great God described in the Agamas and statements of his preceptor. He was delighted, and he evinced the thrill of hair. For a moment, he stood motionless like the mountain Chitrakoot. He forgot himself like a man suddenly becoming rich. He was unable to eulogize or bow down or plead for anything. Then Shiva smiled and said, O child Grihapati, I know you're frightened of Indra with a thunderbolt in his lifted hand. Don't be afraid. I only wanted to know your nature. Neither Indra, nor the thunderbolt, nor even the god of death is powerful to molest my devotee. You have been terrified by me alone in the form of Indra. O gentle one, I shall grant you the boon. I confer the title of Agni on you. I authorize you to grant boons to whatever deity you think fit. O Agni, you will be moving in the midst of all mortals. Acquire kingship as the guardian of the quarter in the southeast. The phallic image installed by you will be known by your name. It will be known as Agniswara, and it will be conducive to the enhancement of all splendor. The devotees of Agniswara need not fear lightning and fire. They will never suffer from impaired digestion or premature death. A person who worships Agniswara, the bestower of prosperity, at Varanasi is honored in the region of fire, even if by chance he dies elsewhere. Nandiswara said. After saying this and fetching his kinsman, Shiva crowned him as the guardian of the quarter. Even as the parents watched it, Shiva entered his phallic image. Thus, O dear, the incarnation of Shiva as fire has been explained to you. This incarnation of Shiva, the great soul, is famous as Grihapati also. The city of Chitrahotra is beautiful, pleasant, and finely lustrous. Those who are devotees of fire stay there. People of steady sattvic quality and control over their sense organs who enter fire, or women endowed with sattva quality, become as lustrous as fire. Brahmins performing Agnihotra regularly, Brahmacharinis maintaining sacrificial fires, and those who stay amidst 5 fires become as splendorous as fire in the region of fire. He who makes gifts of bundles of fuel during winter for alleviating chillness, or he who makes fire bricks of cow dung, stays with fire. He who faithfully performs the rites of cremation for the unclaimed bodies, or he who urges others to do so, himself being incapable, is honored in the region of fire. Fire alone is the greatest means of salvation for the Brahmins. He is the preceptor, the Lord, the sacred rite, the holy center. Certainly, everything is fire. All unholy things become pure the moment they come into contact with fire. Therefore, fire is called purifier. The fire is certainly the immanent soul of man. Even morsels of flesh it will digest in the stomach, but not the muscles of women. The fiery form of Shiva is in the form of the fire visible. Accepting this, what else is seen as creative, protective, and destructive? Fire is the eye of the Lord of the 3 worlds. In this world of pitch darkness, what else than this becomes the illuminator? The incense, the lights, the food offerings, milk, curd, ghee, and sugarcane juice, all these go unto the dwellers of heaven when offered into the fire here. And that concludes chapter 14 and 15. Thank you, Guruji. Om Sai Ram. Thank you for the seva.